What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 23rd day of October in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The Director of Public Prosecutions has advised the Special Organized Crime Unit to move ahead with its more than 240 recommended charges against Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Brutus. Officials at the DPP's office have confirmed that the advice has been forwarded to SOCU. Last week, it was revealed in court documents that SOCU had recommended more than 240 criminal charges be filed against Mr. Brutus, stemming from its money laundering and other financial crimes investigation of him. The investigation was launched just over 3 months ago, following concerns about some of the financial entries into the credit union account of the senior police officer. There were no charges filed against him in relation to that probe, but the probe unraveled a web of concerning financial matters that led to a probe of the bank accounts of the Assistant Commissioner. That probe uncovered 9 accounts in the name of the Assistant Commissioner, his wife, his toddler son, and companies registered in their names. The High Court has since frozen 8 of those 9 accounts. SOCU uncovered more than $500 million in the accounts and said in court documents that its investigation covers more than $800 million. The court documents presented by SOCU in a High Court matter detailed instances of the companies registered in the names of the Assistant Commissioner and his wife being linked to multi-million-dollar supply contracts for the police force and its consumer goods complex. Mr. Brutus has been overlooking the administration of the force, and many of the supply contracts for his wife's companies were reportedly doled out under his watch. One of the accounts registered in the wife's name had more than $200 million, SOCU said in court documents. The court documents and investigations also unraveled details of businessmen handing over millions of dollars as gifts to the Assistant Commissioner for his wedding last November and then Christmas. In one case, a Linden sawmiller reportedly sent financial gifts to the Assistant Commissioner totaling more than $3 million. In another case, it was reported that a businessman in Georgetown supported the wedding of Mr. Brutus to the tune of $8.5 million. The investigation also highlighted the alleged role of the acting police commissioner, Clifton Hicken, in seeking out financial gifts on behalf of the assistant commissioner to cover wedding expenses. The SOCU probe also uncovered a number of properties procured by Brutus over the past 2 years, including a property for $85 million in Albertown and another property on the west bank of Demerara. In a statement today, SOCU refuted a report in another section of the press that its head had contributed a percentage of the purchase price for a property that Brutus reportedly bought on the west bank of Demerara. In its statement, SOCU accused journalist Leroy Smith of being a hired gun for Mr. Brutus and using his media outfit to attack members of SOCU and its head over their investigations, saying that it forms part of an attempt to discredit the probe. SOCU intends to move ahead with the planned charges against the Assistant Police Commissioner, and he could find himself facing the courts before the end of this week. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories. that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life. Just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Is there anybody in this house want to worship the Lord with me?
Hi music fans, it's here again. It's the Gospel Music Awards 2024 and the launching of Charlene Maloney's new album titled He's Greater.
He's greater.
It's a double event, one night only. It's praise and worship at the National Cultural Center, Saturday, November 2nd at 8 p.m. or 20 hours sharp. Tickets cost $3,000 and $2,000. It's Gospel Music Awards and a concert. Special appearances by Ambassador Charlene Maloney and other top Guyanese artists. You cannot afford to miss this one. Be there.
Get your tickets at the National Cultural Center, Wireless Connections Border Market, and Andrew Supermarket.
The oil and gas industry is helping to transform safety standards across all sectors of Guyana. The government and industry leaders are pioneering safer offshore oil production with new legislation, updated policies, and state-of-the-art floating production, storage, and offloading vessels.
Mobile fuels are made with our customers in mind. Mobile Synergy Supreme Plus is designed to help you protect your engine so that your vehicle can give you better mileage and better performance. When you choose Mobile Synergy Supreme Plus, you choose a fuel that will help keep your vehicle running at its best. Visit a mobile service station today and fuel up with Mobile Synergy Supreme Plus. Mobile trademarks are owned by ExxonMobil and used under license.
Let's tell you now that Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Brutus will be removed from that position when criminal charges against him are formalized. That's according to Attorney General Anil Nandlal. On his weekly program, Issues in the News last evening, Mr. Nandlal said the charges against Mr. Brutus are imminent, and once the charges are filed and he appears in court, the process to remove him from office will be activated. The Special Organized Crime Unit has recommended 240 charges against the Assistant Police Commissioner following a money laundering probe. The Director of Public Prosecutions has agreed and has recommended the charges. Mr. Brutus has filed a constitutional motion against the government, the Acting Police Commissioner, and the Police Service Commission for sending him on leave as part of the probe against him. He has asked the court to nullify the process being used to investigate him, describing that process as tainted. SOCU has indicated that its probe of the Assistant Commissioner covers more than $800 million, including $500 million that was uncovered in bank accounts linked to him.
When the charges are instituted, steps will have to be taken by the relevant agency and in compliance with the relevant legal processes to remove Mr. Brutus from office, but that will happen soon.
Observers have described the probe against Brutus and revelations in court by the Special Organized Crime Unit as a fall from grace by a man who had his eyes set on the top position in the Guyana police force. The allegations of financial crimes, financial improprieties, and other corrupt practices have put him on the other side of the law. So much so that the Attorney General is suggesting that the allegations against the Assistant Commissioner might be the first on this scale, at his level, in any part of the Caribbean.
Mr. Brutus will go down in history as perhaps the highest rank officer of the Guyana police force to be implicated in this volume of fraud. I believe that he will go down in the Caribbean as an officer of such rank to go down, to be implicated rather in this level of criminality.
The Attorney General said the government of Guyana stayed clear of the investigations into Mr. Brutus by Circu. And he also said that the court action filed by Mr. Brutus and subsequent replies provide more information than was actually known. Health matters to report now. More than 260 persons in Guyana were diagnosed with breast cancer within a 1-year period. That's according to the medical registrar of the oncology department at the Georgetown Hospital, Dr. Whitney Monroe. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And speaking this morning at the Look Good Feel Better Breast Cancer Awareness Program at the Georgetown Hospital, Dr. Monroe said breast cancer was detected in both men and women, and those patients have undergone the required treatment.
Currently, for the years 2023 to 2024, over 264 persons were diagnosed with breast cancer, and this includes both males and females. Treatment of breast cancer, it's a multidisciplinary approach. It includes services from the radiological department, surgical department, pathology department, oncology department, and of course radiation, which we get from the Cancer Institute of Guyana.
Dr. Monroe also said globally it is estimated that more than 360,000 persons will be diagnosed with breast cancer within the next year. She, however, assured that there is hope, explaining that advancements in early detection methods have increased the chances of survival. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony said here in Guyana, the Ministry of Health is acquiring the necessary technology to better manage and care for cancer patients, even as it continues to push for early detection.
While we have been advocating this, to get a mammogram is a challenge because we only have one machine here at this hospital in the public sector. So accessing mammograms had been a challenge for patients. So by the end of this year, one of the things that the government would be doing is putting in 4 other mammography machines. So one would be at New Amsterdam, so people in Region 5 and 6 can have access. One would be in Linden, so people in Linden and the surrounding communities can have access. One would be in Suddy Hospital, so that people on the Essequibo coast can have access. And we are putting one in Lethem, so that people in Region 9 can have access.
Those machines are expected to be installed by the end of this year. The health minister also said in the case of biopsies, the return rate of biopsy results has significantly improved since the opening of the new pathology lab in the Georgetown Hospital compound. Minister Anthony said while breast cancer is the leading cancer among women, cervical cancer cases remain concerning. He said to prevent cervical cancer, the health ministry has been administering the HPV vaccine, but the uptake remains extremely low.
We are working to get vaccination coverage up to 90%. So right now we're about 40%, and we need to move that right up to 90%. So for children between the ages of 9 to 15, we have vaccines available for them. So we would like you to encourage persons to make sure they bring their kids out and get vaccinated.
Turning our attention now to the agriculture sector. 6 years after a rice deal between Guyana and Panama collapsed, $1.5 billion was paid out to Guyanese millers today for rice shipped to Panama back in 2018, clearing a long overdue debt. In 2014, Guyana signed a contract to supply Panama with rice. However, the agreement collapsed after the Panamanian authorities refused to pay for rice shipped to the country in 2018. A total of 19 millers were affected, with 6 of them being forced to shut down their operations due to the money that was owed to them. The government intervened and has been engaging the authorities in Panama on the issue. Today, before handing over the money to the millers, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said determined to recoup the funds on behalf of the millers, the government initiated legal proceedings against Panama after bilateral talks failed to yield any success. He said the matter went on to arbitration. But during a meeting with President Irfan Ali, the Panamanian president offered his assurance that the debt, excluding interest, would be paid in full. But Guyana must first withdraw from the arbitration process.
We give them an undertaking that as long as the principal is paid and the farmers, and we mean the farmers, the millers are paid, then we will ensure that we withdraw that arbitration. And I believe an agreement was signed after that, and we have the money was paid in to the account of GRDB, the full principal.
The agriculture minister said it was unfortunate that some millers were put out of business due to the large debt. Wazir Hussein, the proprietor of Wazir Hussein Rice Milling Company in Essequibo, was among the millers who received their payments today. He told reporters that his operations were hit hard when the agreement collapsed. He said he has no plans to put his mill back into operation.
I feel so happy about receiving this payments because I waited so long for it. It was so much overdue towards it, and it even affected us in the industry because we couldn't even really close for a while, because of the payments, And now we receive the payments and we feel so happy about it.
Another miller, Mahendra Prasad of Nant Prasad and Company, thanked the government for making good on its promise to resolve the issue with the Panamanian authorities.
This morning we are here to conclude a very long and probably for some very stressful from 1918 to now is 2024. Has been concluded, and I guess all of us are happy that this financial issue have been settled, and this bring the Panama sales to a closure. And I would say thanks to the government and the Ministry of Agriculture, Minister Zulfikar Mustafa. I will thank him for getting this matter concluded, and thanks.
Other millers indicated that they will be using their money to activate their mills. The agriculture minister used the opportunity today to encourage the millers to settle their outstanding debts with the Guyana Rice Development Board and with small farmers.
So some of y'all have some account to settle with GRDB. I hope y'all settle those accounts too, right? And the farmers, if anybody owe any small farmers, I told GRDB to deduct the money after consulting with the farmers and the miller, right? And we go pay the farmers.
The minister.
The Guyana Elections Commission GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31st, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Types of transactions. Anyone eligible for registration is required to visit the registration office responsible for his or her area of residence to apply for registration. Persons who are already registered could apply for a name change if they have changed their names since they were last registered. Apply for corrections if there is incorrect information on their national ID cards. Persons who are desirous of conducting any of the above transactions must provide the relevant supporting documents. Persons who are already registered could request that their photographs be retaken if the quality of the photographs on their ID cards is unacceptable. collect their new ID cards if they have not done so as yet. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, please contact GCOM on the following hotline numbers: 225-027729, 226-6557, 223-9650, or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Let's tell you now that the Ministry of Education has announced that more than 14,700 teachers in the public education system have received their retroactive 10% salary increase for this year in their October salaries, which were paid out today. The increase is retroactive to January of this year and is in keeping with the recently signed agreement between the government of Guyana and the Guyana Teachers Union. In a statement, the Education Ministry said the payments underscores the government's commitment to valuing the hard work and dedication of the nation's teachers. The ministry also said the 10% increase and the salary adjustments have put more than $2.5 billion in the hands of the nation's educators. The agreement was signed in August after 7 months of strike action by teachers. The signing was clouded in controversy as several members of the negotiating team from the GTU, including the General Secretary of the Union, complained that the agreement had not received the full support of the General Council of the GTU. However, the union's president, Dr. Mark Light, maintains that the agreement had received a majority support of the General Council. As teachers returned to their jobs, many of them accused Light of not being straightforward with them and reminded him that throughout their strike action, he would consult them before any major decision of the General Council. They said that was not the case on the agreement. Light had turned down a 9% salary increase for the teachers for this year, but accepted a 10% increase. As part of the agreement, the teachers will also receive an 8% salary increase for next year and a 9% increase in 2026. The union shelved its demands for the years 2019 to 2023 as part of the negotiations for 2024 and onwards. A number of soldiers were forced to plunge and swim to safety this morning after a military truck transporting the soldiers rolled overboard at the Kurupukari crossing in Region 8. At least 2 soldiers were seriously injured and had to be rushed to the hospital. There were also reports that a number of weapons went missing in the river. Those weapons have since been recovered. According to eyewitnesses, the truck, which was transporting the members of the GDF from Letem, was being driven onto the pontoon for the crossing when the driver reportedly lost control after the braking system failed, resulting in the truck rolling overboard with the soldiers and their equipment and supplies. Usually, persons would have to disembark trucks using the pontoons and allow just a driver. It is unclear why the soldiers were in the truck as it was being driven onto the pontoon. Another truck that was transporting goods was jammed and also rolled overboard. Video recordings of the incident showed a number of soldiers swimming to safety, while others were helped out of the river. The video recordings also captured the trucks going down slowly into the river with their cargo. With all of the soldiers who were on board accounted for, the GDF later dispatched recovery teams from the Coast Guard, and they were the ones who recovered the weapons. Other teams are likely to be dispatched to assist with the removal of the trucks from the river. The matter is under a full investigation. The construction of the Bomia Primary School in Region 10, which was slated for completion in July of last year, is now 95% complete, and that's according to the contractors. In a statement today, the general foreman of the company, Statement Investments, Akani Blair, noted that the school is 95% completed, and he said the company is facing no more delays to wrap up the project. He explained that the new school will be one of the region's most modern and advanced schools and is set to be a great environment for learning. The school has been designed with a number of facilities, including a gymnasium, a main building housing 44 spacious classrooms, an auditorium with a performance stage, a sick bay equipped with showers, 2 smart classrooms, modern restroom facilities, a library, a music room, science laboratories, a staff room, and more. The company admitted that it faced several challenges during construction, including material shortages, rising costs, and labor shortages. The company also said it was granted several extensions to complete the school in late 2024, and said it has remained on track to meet that revised deadline. The project was awarded to Statement Investment Inc. in November 2021 at a cost of $364 million. There have been concerns about the experience of the company in construction. Statement Inc. brought together the directors of the Hits and Gems Entertainment Company and the Kashif and Shanghai Football Organization.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is the civic duty and legal responsibility of all persons who meet the eligibility requirements to apply for registration. By doing so, you will be ensuring that you are issued a national identification card and be included in the official lists of electors for future elections, providing you meet all eligibility criteria. Persons could be prosecuted, fined, or even sent to prison for failing or refusing to apply for registration. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, contact GCOM on 225-027729 or visit the website www.gcom.org.gy.
What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
Across the region tonight, we begin in Martinique, where protesters with automatic weapons targeted police and firefighters in the French Caribbean island during a fresh round of violent demonstrations which started today. No injuries were reported. But the government said in a statement that the authorities were prevented from helping people during the protests which erupted late on Tuesday in the community of Shulshire, near the capital. Flaming barricades were set up in the area as demonstrators once again protested against the high cost of living. The protest began back in September and prompted France to deploy special anti-riot police to Martinique, where officials also have imposed curfews. Just last week, government officials, importers, distributors, and others signed a protocol aimed at reducing the price of basic goods and boosting local production, among other things. The government said the move would lead to an average reduction of 20% among the most consumed goods in Martinique. But despite those measures, the protests have persisted, with one large activist group refusing to sign the protocol, saying the measures taken were insufficient. In a ruling stemming from its original jurisdiction, the Caribbean Court of Justice on Tuesday ruled that Trinidad and Tobago did not breach the provisions of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas in bailing out CLICO back in 2009. The case had been brought by nationals of Antigua and Barbuda and Grenada, all policyholders of British American Insurance Company Limited, a subsidiary of CL Financial, the financial conglomerate resident in Trinidad. After the collapse of CLF in early 2009, the defendant decided to rescue or bail out the CLICO company and its Trinidad subsidiaries, CLICO Investment Bank, Colonial Life Insurance Company Limited. The litigants had argued that Trinidad's bailing out of CLICO was discriminatory. Recently, BICO policyholders in Trinidad were advised that sums outstanding to them will be settled. In a statement, the Caribbean Court of Justice said it considered that there was no obligation to extend any relief to institutions outside of the defendant member state, and therefore no right for the claimants to obtain the relief that they were seeking. And finally tonight, international news. Israel has carried out at least 4 airstrikes on the historic Lebanese port city of Tyre, hours after expanding its evacuation orders to cover several central neighborhoods. Videos showed huge clouds of black smoke rising from a seafront area that is only a few hundred meters from UNESCO World Heritage listed Roman ruins. Lebanon State News Agency said the strikes caused massive destruction to homes and infrastructure, but there were no reports of any casualties. The Israeli military said it targeted command and control centers of Hezbollah, including its southern front headquarters. The military's Arabic spokesman had earlier issued a map of the neighborhoods where he said it was going to act forcefully against the Iran-backed armed group. Tens of thousands of residents had already fled the city in recent weeks in response to Israel's intense air campaign and ground invasion. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to have a safe and enjoyable night.